Good morning. This is Angela with today's A Cup of Tea. So, let's get this party started. This is really sort of the way the topic came in for today. And it's not that we're getting the party started, we've actually gotten the party started. And I've talked about that a while, but one of the questions that comes up more and more that I find really interesting is how there are so many of us, and this whole mass awakening is going on, and everybody's coming about it in a different way. And I've talked about it so many times on how part of the ultimate goal of this experience, this existence, or this entire existence, has been our individuality, our experience in trying out the feeling of being individuals and going really to an extreme, like really separating ourselves off from each other. And now we're coming back together. And we're realizing this, and that the beauty in all of this is that we've tried to group things, we've tried to put boxes around them, we've tried to define, we've created these words that have been very limiting in many respects, but also we've also created these, ideas of how we should be progressing, how we should get enlightened, how we should, follow that path up the mountain that I always talk about to enlightenment. And so there's a lot of different just little things to clear and tweak as we go through this and realize all of this. And we're taking away the boxes. So what happens is there are a couple of things. There's one line of thinking that comes through questions from clients and people I work with and people I know, which is, well, I'm doing this and I'm working on this way, and so this other person, like, they just totally don't see it this way. They see it another way completely. And so I've talked about that. First of all, it's none of our business what other people think of me. It's actually none of our business what other people's paths are. And I've had that experience myself within people in my family, because people you love, you want to help, you want to, support and nurture along the way. And you can do that, though, without interjecting into their paths. So that's one part of what comes up a lot as well. So-and-so is not doing this, or this person in my life isn't doing this, and I just, I want to help them, I want to do this well. And my answer is, let them be, and support them and love them for who they are, because their path is their path. Their path is very individual, and we have a zillion different ways. As many people who are here, as many humans who are incarnate right now, we all have an individual path to enlighten. We have a very individual path to come back to the oneness of our connectedness and into our divinity. So that's part of the big lesson, which is let others do as they do, because what is highest and best for them is not necessarily the highest and best for you, and what's highest and best for you is not necessarily the highest and best for them. So that's a big lesson in acceptance. Not only that, and I've also found that as we progress on this path, that we can also learn from each other, because there are some aspects that are brought out around us, so that we can so it can be brought up to ourselves. That it's a reminder to ourselves in some way. It's something for us to look at. It's something for us to consider or integrate into our personal path as well. Sometimes it is an example of what not to do for us, or what it just doesn't work for us. So that's one part that's really, really important. And in that, the funny thing is, many people who are really actively pursuing their spiritual path and clearing out and working on the skunk, though there are many people around them, we all tend to get lonely, because we have gotten to be so dependent on each other. We've become so dependent because we feel separated, and we feel like we're missing something without other people, that we're missing something without others, because we've done such a great job at helping ourselves forget that we are all one regardless. So what's happening is the ego is losing its footing, as the ego is becoming assimilated equally into the other parts of our consciousness. It's saying, well, wait a second, though, this is lonely. Like, well, what about all this, love and, kumbaya and all that kind of stuff? Well, yeah, if we come from love, it doesn't matter what our semantics are. It doesn't matter what our details of the day-to-day lives are. It just matters that we love each other, and that we are all one, that we are all part of the same thing. We're all part of the same path, the same destiny, and yet our paths are individual in themselves. So, the path is the path, but yet the path is very individual. So it's just such a huge, 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 awesome, awesome path and experience and lesson for all of us. The next part is that comes with self-judgment. It has to do with, well, look at so and so, they have progressed so quickly. And this really happens when somebody starts exploring their divine abilities, all of our natural divine abilities that we all have. We are all psychics, we are all telepathic and clairvoyant, and we are all magical. We have all of these abilities, except the fact that we've covered them up due to whatever experiences have been that we've wanted to experience and the lessons that we've wanted to learn. So we've covered them up and forgotten them, and convinced ourselves, the ego has convinced us, that we are not deserving, worthy, and able to, that we don't have that ability. I have that all the time when I start working with somebody from scratch. A lot of times they'll be like, well, I'm just not psychic, or I can't do this way, or I can't do this way. And what I tell people is, no, we all can do all of it. We're all psychic. We're all of it. It's just because of our individual experiences, there are some latent abilities, there are some of our natural abilities that come out a whole lot more easily than others. And it's all dependent on our personal path, on our personal individual experience again. So what is fascinating, and what I always say is step back and look at the different ways we all come to the table, the different ways we're all getting to the same place. That's what's beautiful about the whole thing. And it's a lesson in letting go of the ego and allowing us to realize that we are all worthy and deserving and able, and we're all the divine. We're all fully able to do all of it. So the key here is to start remembering when you see somebody who, say, and a lot of times this happens in a household where, say, both in a couple are have very different spiritual paths, or they're both exploring it, but yet one jumps ahead of the other, or one just has this really huge ability in one area and the other one is just sort of not quite there. And it's not wrong. It doesn't make one less smart or less able than the other. It just is, we have our own paths. It goes back to having our own paths, and we're all coming to the same place, and we're all coming from different places. So that's what's really cool, because we all have different abilities that are going to come out more strongly and more naturally than others, and it's going to be very different from me to you, and from me to the next person, and from you to the next person. And so instead of letting the ego step in and say, oh, well, see, we're just losers because we can't do that, there's just no way we could ever do that. We're not good enough. We're not gifted enough. We just have to remember how to tap into it. And you know what? The end result, it doesn't matter, because the end result is the same. And if we find a different way that we're more comfortable doing it, well, then we do it. I started, when I fell open like a book, I started working, like, I am so naturally clairvoyant. I'm very visual. I see pictures and scenes and visions, and it's very clear to me, and that's the clearest and easiest way for me. And it just happens to be what is most natural to me. So what I did, though, purposely, as I was learning how to develop all the other skills, is that I would force myself to turn off that clairvoyance, that I would turn off that vision, and I would focus in on using the other senses to get messages and to process things and to understand them. Because in doing so, then I felt like I was allowing myself to become more well-rounded. And some people don't want to do that. Some people want to just focus in one area. Some people are just naturally want to stick with what they're naturally comfortable with doing. And part of the lesson is coming back to this full complement of our entire divinity, and in exploring our oneness and our abilities from that. So consider that as you move forward, and as you look around you, and realize everybody's got their own path, but realize that we're all on the same path. It's just very individual for each one of us. So in essence, yes, let's get the party started. Yes, we're in this party. Let's just enjoy each other. That's the whole message. Let's enjoy each other and enjoy the beauty and the gifts and everything that's being brought up as we go through this tremendously enlightening time. And so today, and as we're coming into the new year this weekend, it's something to consider in moving forward, and just appreciate all those in your life, all of those around you, and no matter what they do that might still annoy you and that's bringing up stuff to help you clear out, and just appreciate everything and have gratitude for all of it and enjoy it and have fun with it and have the party, So today our clearing is the key, I understand, for a clearing today is actually getting Creator's truth and understanding on individual paths and individual abilities, on how everybody has their own path, and the understanding on how we can be on the same path and have a very different path at the same time, and that everything is right, and then what is wrong and what is right, the perception versus the reality. And all beliefs of we're going to pull all beliefs of I am not psychic, I am not clairvoyant, I am not fully divine, I am not magical. We're going to pull all beliefs related to that. Or here's some more. There are others. Other people are far more psychic than I am. Other people are far more intuitive. Other people are far more gifted than I am. We're going to pull all those beliefs. And we are going to replace them with I am divine. I am fully magical. I am. It just, that says it all in itself. But also, I am just as gifted as everyone else, that we are all divine, that we are all miraculous and magnificent and special, that I am just as much as everyone else. We're going to pull all the self-limiting thoughts, words, and actions that were related to those beliefs we're pulling, and we're going to transform the Creator's lights, and Creator, close those receptors, open new ones, and saturate the cells with Creator's unconditional love and Creator's unconditional self-empowerment. And we're also going to download all the feelings and the knowledge of having these feelings of I am divine, I am magical, I am perfect, and I am just, limitless. There's a good word. And the feelings of that, of knowing how to access that, and knowing that you're worthy, and that we're worthy and deserving and able to, that it's okay and possible and allowed and safe to, that you have it in your life right now, you're ready, willing, and able to have it in your life right now. So all you need to do, and then we're going to resolve and heal the timeline, bring forward any lessons via instantaneous download with ease and grace and balance, harmony, and joy of experiences where you felt like you weren't worthy, or you weren't as good as somebody else, or you weren't as powerful or magical as somebody else, and what the perception of that situation was versus the truth, and what the lesson was. And we're going to write that off as completed in the Akashic Records. We're going to, resolve and heal the timeline in all directions to infinity with the platinum violet flames. And then we're going to offer it to any and all ancestors and descendants as they so choose to accept it. So all you need to do is clear your mind and say, yes, individual paths. And that's it. Have a great New Year's. I'll talk to you early in the week. This is Angela with Today's a Cup of Tea.